15 co-stars who did not get along. 16. Love-hate relationship. Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp, both incredibly good-looking people, and one would assume that the chemistry would have been amazing between them, except it was anything but. You never quite know with these kinds of stories, but it's said that Jolie had hoped Depp would have been in better shape for the role, and thought he should have cut his hair. And then they say Depp thought Jolie was really full of herself. 15. He was definitely not the Romeo to her Juliet. 1996 seems like a lifetime ago, and that was when we saw the modern adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. In terms of chemistry between the two star-crossed lovers, there was none. In fact, Danes was said to be infuriated with DiCaprio, who always used to goof off, and that he thought she was rather stuck up. 14. Frenemies. Don't you wish that you didn't actually know this information? Kind of ruins the movie a bit. But apparently our two main actors from 50 Shades of Grey did not like each other at all. Dakota Johnson and Janie Dornan had to reshoot scenes several times due to their lack of chemistry, and then rumors were further fueled when it was said that he wasn't at all keen to reprise his role in the film sequel. 13. 10 Things I Hate About You. In this case, there may well be more. Nicki Minaj and Mariah Carey had quite the tumultuous relationship on American Idol, and it felt like they couldn't last a minute without bickering. Carey said it was a one-way thing, but Minaj replied with a very affirmative, "No, it wasn't." 12. Kiss and Makeup. Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey were the leading roles in Dirty Dancing, a movie that is still a firm favorite for many. Even though the pair had to fight on-screen, those fights also progressed off-screen. Swayze didn't enjoy the amount of time Grey wasted by goofing off on set, and even in the scene where he is teaching her, you see her laughing, and he looks seriously annoyed. He was literally seriously annoyed. 11. It's a hit and miss. And in this case, it was a total miss. The Notebook was one of the most romantic movies I've ever seen, and it's hard to believe that behind the scenes, Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams couldn't stand each other. I don't know the exact reason, but at one point, Gosling wanted a stand-in actress to rehearse, as he said he couldn't do it with McAdams, saying, "I'm just not getting anything from this." 10. Ladies' Man. Surprisingly, not this time. Back in 1998, Pierce Brosnan and Teri Hatcher were in the film Tomorrow Never Dies. Brosnan, of course, being the former 007. He wasn't at all happy with Hatcher's tardiness and said that she used to keep him waiting for hours. What he didn't realize was that she was pregnant at the time and was suffering from acute morning sickness, which can last all day. 9. Opposites attract. Not in this case. Reese Witherspoon's Type A personality and Vince Vaughn's Type B personality were a total mismatch while filming 4 Christmases. Witherspoon wanted to rehearse and block scenes often, but Vaughn wasn't interested and preferred to go with the flow and ad-lib where he could. He would often arrive looking like he'd had a rough night on the town, whereas she would be camera-ready. Whether it's 100% true, I guess we'll never know. 8. Not so golden. Watching The Golden Girls was always a highlight when growing up, so it surprised me to learn that Bea Arthur and Betty White didn't get along very well. It seems it didn't come from White's side though, and there was speculation that Arthur resented White for her television background and sunny personality. 7. No Love Lost. The X-Files, a fabulous TV series that had us all hooked in 1993, starred Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny. Things were great on air, but off air, well, not so great. David confessed in an interview that they couldn't stand each other off air, and that just the sight of her would make him ill. Sounds like a terrible thing to say, so I wonder if the feeling was mutual. 6. Where friendships go to die. Freddie Prinze Jr. said he had the worst time ever co-starring with Kiefer Sutherland on 24. He said Kiefer was very unprofessional, and it almost made him quit the industry altogether. Strangely though, those comments came 5 years after filming, so it does seem a little odd, doesn't it? 5. That's show business. Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall had so many different stories spread about them, I'm not even sure what to believe. They were best friends on Sex and the City, yet according to some, off-screen they were anything but. The unhappiness was said to stem from the fact that Cattrall was very unhappy that Parker was earning double than what she earned, and Parker was said to be upset by the huge amount of screen time her co-star received. I think if it was all bad, they may never have done the 2 movies after that. 4. Wasn't meant to be. Gilmore Girls ran for 7 years, and it was over that course of time that many a fan hoped and hoped that Luke and Lorelai would get married. It never happened. Lauren Graham, who played Lorelai, was said to have much preferred Christopher. Turns out that her and Luke, played by Scott Patterson, weren't super friendly off-screen. Nothing super dramatic took place. They just didn't connect like you would have thought they would. There's a 4-part miniseries heading to Netflix, which is called A Year in the Life, which will be answering some very important questions for die-hard fans. 3. Let bygones be bygones. Naya Rivera and Lea Michele made headlines when the pair were apparently in a massive fight that saw themselves being kicked off the set of Glee. The girls both say that it was totally blown out of proportion, but they do admit that things could get heated on set. Naya released a tell-all memoir, Sorry, Not Sorry, where she writes about the feud and confirms what I've just shared. 2. Bury the hatchet. Teri Hatcher and Marcia Cross were best friends in the series Desperate Housewives, and what they desperately didn't want you to know was they were actually not friends at all. Teri was described as being quite the loner, and some articles printed about the ongoing feud called it Hatcher against everyone. At the end of the series, a goodbye gift was given to the crew by the girls, and Teri's name was left off the card. Must have been a huge slap in the face. 1. No secret. This is probably one of the more well-known celebrity feuds, which involves William Shatner and George Takei, both of whom were quite open about how they felt about each other. Shatner described Takei as psychotic and very disturbed, and Takei called Shatner very self-centered. When Takei got married, he didn't invite Shatner, which offended Shatner deeply.